Today we're going to be looking at how the energy perceives itself and how it's expressed in the reality that you experience from a day to day for this week. All readings are weekly, and to keep in mind that it is a collective reading, so this is for everyone that comes along here, including cross-watchers. I hope that the information will serve you well in the ways that you seek. Please keep in mind that this is also for an affirmation for what it is that you seek to know at this moment in time. We're going to be looking at the energy within its present situation, and we'll work from there. The cards have been pre-shuffled. We're looking at the Regency offering of Earth. Within this, we are seeing that there's definitely an Earth element that's coming through in this foreground. There's a lot of offering of things that need to come into play. There's also a lot of things that are being brought into presence for you to observe and to also work with in terms of your experience. Can we have a little bit more on this? We're seeing that there's also gratitude in terms of what is coming to you. And in this, you're also reminded that whatever you have been working from in terms of your creative endeavor, that you take note that it is based on what is within the heart. So we're looking here at material wealth that is being accumulated over time. We're also seeing that there's an excitement that's taking place. For some of you, I'm picking up that there's also clearing up of old energy. I'm seeing dusting out of cobwebs, perhaps. You're starting something new. As we can see from the previous reading, there's definitely a theme of starting things back up again. And for some of you, this is related to your financial endeavors as well. Overall, we're seeing here that the gusto of air suggests an air element, and in this way you're being reminded that you are taking the time to formulate the ideas that you're putting into place. I can see that there's also for some of you a focus on renewing wedding vows. I heard Ayurvedic vows. I don't know if this is important for someone. Perhaps you're starting an Ayurvedic diet, perhaps, or you're starting to look into something like that in terms of astrology or astronomy. And either way, the energy suggests that this is all part of your new alignment that you're going in, that you are within this week. We're seeing here above Vice's air, suggesting the same thing. Number 0, number 1, and number 0. 10 could be significant for someone. This is also indicative of starting up from whatever position you had left off from perhaps previous experience or your previous timeline that you have been living within, that you're now starting up into the new. For some of you, I'm also seeing that you're gathering a lot of thoughts to create a momentum in your pathway. The above Vice's air suggests someone that has to have a lot of control over their thoughts, their mental capacities, and in this way, if you are able to create a stability in your way that you're thinking, perhaps some of you are journeying through a journal. Journal work seems to be very prominent here. I'm picking up also dream work that seems to be very prominent as well. There's some of you that are seeking information on a particular passage or pathway that you're going in. I'm hearing the word, it's been prophesied for you, so you have to take it in consideration as you go forward on this journey. We're seeing here that there's the Judgment, number 43, coming up as well, suggesting that you are encountering a process in which you need to take stock of what it is that you already know within your pathway going forward. Within this, we're seeing that there's definitely a focus on setting new things into alignment for you. You're also being able to take more a position of judgment now. Again, I'm hearing the sense that there's someone who is practicing law, and within that law, you have perhaps reached the level of judge. If not so in the physical, there is a spiritual content to this where it says that you are taking consideration over the judgment call that you have to make. In other words, a choice that has to be made. Can we have a bit more on this, Spirit? There was one that wanted to come out. It says collaboration of air here. So for some of you, you're going through the process where you're needing to take stock of the people that are in your life and those that you wish to not have in your life, especially if it's in relation to the judgment card here. Can we have a little bit more on the regency of Earth here? Two came out here. We have the Stoic and we have negotiation of metal. So the Stoic suggests in the nature in which you will negotiate, or the negotiation of something specific on a material level, money wise, would require your stoicism to step forward into this. In other words, you'll be encountering the need to present yourself in a stoic manner, and the rules of stoicism is the ability to focus through the heart. As he has his hand on his heart, he comes with clear intentions and directions in what it is that he wishes to experience. Negotiation of metal here, number two of coins, you could say, suggests that there's definitely an overabundance of focus on what you've got already at hand and what it is that you need to work forward from, what it is that you're needing to put in place, how much energy and physicality is needed for you to put that thing in place, what it is that you need to then achieve, what it is that you seek. On the gusto of air here, we're seeing in the center point, as the reading goes, that there is a frozen sea of water or a body of water, which suggests that there's definitely a distance that needs to take place, especially if there's a relationship condition that's taking place. You need some distance and to step back from what it is that you're observing overall within this pathway of yours in terms of the people that you are encountering in your life. There's also, interestingly enough, frozen sea of water, which is the four of ice, that is underneath the gusto of air. So at some point, overthinking may also create a freezing out of things that you may need to see happen around you in order for you to be able to go forward in the next pathway. Can we see a little bit more on the above vices air for the thinkers? There's two that came out here. We're seeing the Devil's Advocate and we're seeing the Son of Metal. The Devil's Advocate suggesting perhaps for someone, for specifically you, who seems to be involved in law, that you may have some people that are believing themselves to be something that they are not. And normally comes in the case of it says master advocacy, authority claiming influences or influential power, when in actual fact it's not really one or the other. It's more someone who'd like to believe that they've got all these abilities and powers within their ability to present certain things in the process. Especially this may challenge you as being a judge or being in judgment of certain things that you may encounter, certain devil's advocates in your life that you'd wish to rather clear out of your life. And for some of them, I'm seeing that there's definitely a necessity, unfortunately, that it requires a financial negotiation to be able to deal with this particular person in your life path, specifically when there's a lot of finances taking place in this specific pathway. So you need to have the right stock of mind or focus within how you are able to receive the information that comes to you. Don't always believe everything you hear from unless you are actually there in the presence of hearing these things. I'm hearing that there's also some stories that are being spread around and in the communities as to trying to infiltrate or enforce certain ideas to take place or to bring certain things into its nature. Leading us out, what we perhaps don't see in this, what is not seen here, is that within the masculine part of your consciousness, which is your ability to do things, your action card, your action section here, suggesting that there may be a need to take in mind that everything seems to have dueling forces around you. There's always going to be a light and a dark, and sometimes they may be interacting with one another. So there might be some things in your past or in your shadows that you may have to bring out or clear up. And if these shadows are about fear or certain things that may make you feel that you are subjected to certain beliefs, then in actual fact, you're being led to take the approach of doing this through the heart, so that your mind is free to be able to consider the right path to take. What is not being seen here in the center point, which is essentially the heart of the reading, suggests that there are things being done that may not be visible to you at this point in time, but it doesn't mean that it's done necessarily against you. Although for those of you, I'm hearing that there may be people that are trying to go against against what you do, or trying to do something that you're doing that doesn't seem to be very considering of your nature. There may be someone that's in work trying to recreate your information or re-establish the information that you've put out. And this is why your back may be against the wall, and why you feel like you need to freeze it all so that you're able to step back from this whole thing. For some of you, I'm picking up that in a relationship, there seems to be a situation where you're unable to know what the other person is doing because there's simply no communication. And in this way, that communication in itself will start to come through once you're able to step back from the whole situation and really look at the entire thing. Was it her fault? Did they really contribute to your life in a loving way, in a supportive way, or were they there just to simply pull your energy back down with them in order to feed them as well? Overall, we're going to be seeing here in the abilities for some of you in receiving the information in itself. There is the broken mirror, or the illusion that is being broken. That is, keep in mind, this is what is not seen or what is not noticed, that all of this chaos that some of you are experiencing within what you feel emotionally is merely an illusion. And the illusion in itself is something that it really is pointing out that all of these things that are particularly designed to make you feel you question yourself, or using the judgment over yourself, that it is only an illusion. Why is this an illusion? Why is this an illusion? Red Pool, 2 cards came out here, Father of Air and Praetor Natural, which means it is a frequency of the nature of the reality. It is merely a thought form, or an egregore. A thought form or an egregore is when there's a collective group of people that believe in a certain way, or a company that requires a certain group ethics that play a certain role in the narrative within the reality in which you are affected by. And when I say affected, I'm saying it doesn't mean negative or positive. It means that you are surrounded by their energy. So if you're in the legal system, the legal system in itself is a thought form that is formed out of a collective group of thought forms, and where people believe to do the same thing. And you may find yourself in a place where you're questioning these things now. You're sort of on the brink of understanding things for what it's truly meant to be. The Father of Air here, where it's inspiring you to find the information and the wisdom to essentially come to that clarification of what you need to do. You may be within the system, but doesn't mean that you are from the system. It means that you are just merely passing through. I'm hearing passing through. Can we see the final outcome? Final outcome is the sovereign man, which would be equated to the emperor. But in this case, the sovereign man is in his own nature here successful. And this means that this can be for men and women who are experiencing this, whatever position you place yourself. A sovereign man is really about having the ability to create within your own ability, in using your masculine energy to bring the energy forward for what it is that you seek. You are advised to use your masculine energy, and that would help you to build your pathway going forward. What is here in the center point, in the heart of the matter? Overall, Regency of Air or Odyssey of Air suggests the outcome suggests that you are finally coming to that conclusion where you are coming to a realization that most of those things that you've been thinking about, perhaps some of them have been correct all along. You've learned to step back now, and you've taken charge over your own thoughts and what you've heard and what you've experienced. And in that way, you've learned to understand the entire procedure, what it was that you were thinking is correct, and perhaps some of the things you thought were correct are not correct. So you have created order within your thoughts to be able to see that situation for what it is. Final outcome here, showing the potential of metal, or which is 0 overall, suggesting that we're looking at a process in which you come to that realization that essentially all that is required from you in terms of your emotional nature has in some ways been priced or perhaps profiteered from in a particular way that you may not have been aware of. And so the outcome suggests that whatever you do, it may have a price to it because of the nature of the system in which you exist within. And this doesn't mean that it's necessarily for those of you who are within the legal system or that you're fighting a particular legal battle here. And for some it may be so, because whatever it is, the outcome suggests that it will only be what is necessary at the moment in time. So you won't be over charged. There will be an equal and opposite receive and giving of a particular money or situation or payout. I'm also picking up that there's someone that's going through a divorce here. The judge will rule in both your favors to be able to split everything in exactly the right way between the two parties. I'm also hearing that there's, for those that are studying, that are that are students within the law themselves, every step that you take to go forward in terms of enriching yourself in what it is that you need to learn does have a price, and that you, as long as you're aware that you're using the ability to be stoic within this, that you never give more than what it is required from you. So only give what is needed for the time that you are using it. And then that way you create within yourself an inner balance also. Overall, we're going to be looking at the energies that may be outside of us that are perhaps affecting us in some way that we may see or may not be able to see. And we're going to be looking at what the oracle says here. There's one that wanted to come out here. Overall, it says introducing or introduction, which means there's a new way of experience. Can we have a little bit more on the introduction, Spirit? Okay, 2 wanted to come out. I will take them. It says casual as well as rejection. So within the relationships of the experience in itself surrounding this entire thing shows in the nature that for some of you, you may experience something coming new to you. For some of you, this whole attitude change towards needing to apply stoicism is because of a change within the way you experienced your previous relationships before. I'm seeing that there was rejection that took place. The image here is not really accepting the dog as the friend. So this could be an issue between two friends that may have driven you to this point where you have to refocus on what it is that has always been within you. So in other words, overall, I'm seeing that the Stoic is peeking through the entire reading here, suggesting that even though you've experienced all these events, these issues, excuse me, some of you may be very sad about this, that you are able to apply the right way of supporting yourself in order to deal with this particular relationship issue or complex condition that you are experiencing, particularly within a community. This feels to me very strongly related to people around you. So if there's this particular sort of thing that you're being given a direction to take because of certain situations and things that are happening around you, then in actual fact you're being told to just continue with the direction forward, because after all the outcome is the sovereign man. So in all cases I would say that as the stone is being formed and shaped, it becomes more malleable, and so within it comes the diamond in its raw form, and in that way it is just another jewel that you may apply within your crown. Overall, in the center point, at the heart of the entire nature, the situation in itself, can we see what is hidden from us? Moderation. Can we have some more on moderation, please, Spirit? We have fortitude. So in other words, be strong, be courageous, and do things in moderation. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo what you know. Don't over expand too much on what your thoughts are with regards to a particular situation. Don't overthink it. And for some, there may be a very strong overthinking that could create a little bit of chaos that is unforeseen overall. But this is in the outside energy around you, so it doesn't necessarily mean it is affecting you. It suggests only that it's just something to look out for overall. Can we have the energies of the seen and the unseen around this? It says spontaneity. Spontaneity is definitely the key to being stoic and being in charge of yourself. Can we have a little bit more on that, please, Spirit? 3 came out. I will take them. It says unrequited love and sunlight. Sunlight is always good. Sunlight gives you the ability to see what is by your side, what it is that you're experiencing within your life path. It shows all the things that have been hidden. And perhaps this relationship, there's a relationship that is unrequited or unrequited, where it's not met with the same amount of love that you're giving to that particular situation. And this is why you're reminded to give only what you can for what that thing is worth at the point in time. So in other words, don't overdo it. You're being reminded to not overdo it, to take your time, to be careful in how you approach your relationships for this week. And this relationships does not necessarily mean physical. It means it can also be on the spiritual level or with others in and surrounding you. And I will leave this with you. I hope this has given you some guidance and some inspiration overall. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.